Hey guys, welcome to the Birddoggin podcast. I'm your host, Jared Moss. I got Mr. Jordan Hoyt that's with me this evening. Welcome. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're dropping in. If you're on just listening to the audio on the podcast, welcome as well. We're going to be talking all things bird dogs, from hunting to training, everything in between. So appreciate you for listening. Enjoy the show.
All right, Jared, I want to talk about what I think is the best training tool of all time that you hand make there in Beaver, Utah, which is the leather training collar. How you
So,
make them and what this does.
okay, it's made out of Herman oak leather, it's a really high-end natural tan leather. So that means this is going to absorb a lot of the oils and stuff off of your skin, or we can condition it. It's designed to contract and release. I'll tell you what it's not. It's not a prong collar. It's not a slip lead. It's not, man, it's not a pinch collar. It's not a chain collar. It's actually just a way to communicate. And so the thing I've liked the most about this method that Dave Walker and Bill West and these guys all put together recently was that it was very quiet and calm and more of this like communication with the dog. And I think you and I were talking a little earlier. It's kind of like you're creating this bond and respect, and it's a conduit between you and the dog. That's how I like to think about it. One of the very cool things that I saw right off the bat was you put this on the dog, and if they really are pulling hard and you've got a hard charging dog, then that's going to contract, and he's the one that regulates that. And you kind of just you can almost stand still if you want, just for the first few minutes, and let him feel this and get used to kind of bouncing on it and be like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. Bounces on it again. So it takes a dog that's high drive and says, hey, calm down a little bit, pay attention. And then also, once you get them broken, then it takes a dog that's a little more timid, and it gives you, because it puts so much leather on the dog's neck, it kind of gives you some ways to guide without like yanking and cranking. So in its simplest form, it's just conduit, man. It's just a way to talk to the dogs. Now, this tool is great, but without like the methods behind it, the way that you communicate. Come go with me, the drill, the heel drill, the stand up, stand tall drill, recall drill. Without those drills, then this is just another tool. It's not as effective, nearly as effective. So you take this method of quiet, calm, nonverbal communication, and you use this tool, and you put those two things together, and man, you make a lot of progress fast.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen you take dogs that you've never met before, you don't have any bond with, you've never trained before. And it's funny, within like 5 minutes, that dog is a different dog already just because of that. We've talked about it a ton. Like, I consider this like a corded telephone. You're communicating through the dog with this. And then once you layer in the e-collar after it, which is a huge advantage of this because you can layer in the e-collar properly, then your e-collar becomes the cell phone. And you're just starting to communicate with them there, sending them text messages like you like to say. So
Yeah.
it's funny. I get people asking all the time, well, how do you condition an e-collar? I'm like, well, you start with a leather training collar, and then the e-collar becomes super easy after that.
So I saw how the e-collar was like, e-collar is definitely like the best tool for off-leash communication. It just really is. Vocal's great, but e-collar gives you different levels of stimulus and different sensations, momentary and continuous stimulus, different sensations to the dog. But people were uneducated about it, and they would just throw it on the dog and start pushing buttons. And it messed up so many dogs. So when I learned about this leather training collar from Dave, it was like, oh, I can see now. It's very forgiving. I can't really mess it too much up with it, right? And once the dog has this understanding of, hey, when he tugs on this, it means to do something. Once they have that understanding, then I can interlay the e-collar with it. The great thing that this does is it creates a point of contact on the dog's neck. And it says, hey, come go with me, for an example. We use the come go with me drill. We're moving back and forth. Come go this way. Now come go this way. And that point of contact there translates really easy to layering in the electronic collar as part of this tool. the training method, and then you have the two tools working together. Ironically, you don't say anything, and then you put the verbal on last. So inversely from what we would usually see in dog training, instead of saying here and using something to reinforce your vocal command, we're saying don't say the word here. We're saying use your body language to draw the dog to you by bending a little bit. Use a tool that'll communicate to the dog. And then once the dog's doing those motions and those skills, tie the word to it. And the dog goes, oh, that word means this action that I've already been doing.
Yeah, it's one thing you say that's really funny is that thing makes us look like great dog trainers. It
Yeah.
really does. It's the foundation of everything that we do. I mean, I think I put this on every dog that comes here for the most part. If it's a pretty timid dog, then we'll just stick with 4 foot leash and a slip chain collar, but just doing
Right.
obedience work. But if it's
Right.
any gun dog work, this is going on them, whether it's upland or waterfowl, because the obedience and the communication that it teaches them is just incredible to see. I mean, I had somebody come here today. They had a great dog, already been junior titled and all this great stuff, but couldn't heel very well on leash and off leash. Put that on this dog and was like, wow, this she's the thing she said was she gets it. She understands what's going on. I think she's really taken to it. I'm like, yeah. And then sure enough, off leash and then put the leash on. She was just barely holding the leash next to her, and that dog was. I
Ooh,
was I was telling her too, like you're doing the stick shift method with heel on it, which you talk about in detail over other podcasts and a lot of your videos. And I told her too, like once that dog starts to put its head down, give correction up, so that way it stays focused and stays forward.
right.
I think my favorite drill with this thing is come go with me though. I tell you all the time. I think it's my favorite drill that you do. Obviously, doing stand up, stand tall with it creates a steady dog on it, but
Right.
come go with me really does create a bond and teaches you how to work together, you and your dog, and how you move together, and how it's one of the first things I do with any dog. I think it's just such a great drill.
Well, the fastest way to get uninvited to another hunt is to drop the tailgate and your dog blows out of there and he's out there 300 yards ripping birds. And you don't get invited back when your dog does that. But when you drop your tailgate and your dog moves with you where you go and he's got this nice moving pattern with you and he hunts for you with you, that's noticeable instantly out of the gate. And guys realize that and recognize that. One tip I wanted to do before we left that was if your dog is being if you have a sensitive dog, then just start here. Just clip this to his ID collar. Let that weight, drag that weight around, drag the check cord around for a good 10 days. Then you might add in the leather collar, right? So there's all kinds of little tricks and all that's kind of covered in the Best Gun Dogs online training course, but there's the check cord and everything is by design, and we can get into more detail about that. I liked how you told me about that girl today. You didn't assume anything. You went out, worked a bird. You guys worked a rep, and you're like, okay, cool. The first bird she nailed, and then you said we went to the second bird, and the dog just lost its mind, and you're like, okay, I got it. I know how we can fix that. And you took a step back and you said, all right, we're gonna go do some work, and then we're gonna come back and revisit birds. And in essence, you kind of went and sharpened the stone on the foundation, and the dog went, okay, these two are serious now about what we're doing. I need to pay attention and focus. So this
Yeah,
method is amazing, but you know what it really does is it teaches a dog to learn how to learn. And that's what we're after. I had another dog trainer make a comment this week, and the comment was something like, we use place training to help teach the dog to go to that location and lay down. But that's like step one of 99. Like we're using place training to go get the dog to lay down and down regulate, but we also have to teach the dog how to be a dog outside of place. You can't just have your dog stay on a cot its whole life. So same thing with this method is it teaches a dog, and I don't know that I talk about this a lot, but it teaches a dog how to be calm and focused. And when you get a dog in that calm and focused mindset, then it's looking at you like, what do you want to do? And in that scenario you did with that girl today, what you did is you went and took the dog, got him calm in his mind, went back, worked a bird, and then when you worked this between the first bird and the second bird, what did you guys do?
Took a break, took and got that dog calm again, and got the trainer calm again too. You know,
There you go.
there's a wise man that taught me that in the middle of 40 people in Beaver, Utah, at a training seminar.
Yep. And then when you brought the dog back, we'll talk dog thermostat in a different podcast, but when you took that dog from a 10 back to a 5, and then you go approach the next bird, the dog is in a calm and focused mindset. He's trying to learn what it is you're trying to teach. And that's kind of like the hidden gem about all of this is when you get a dog that's he normally comes out of the womb who's at 6, 7, 8, and he's rocking and sniffing and seeking and finding, and you get him to stop and think. Now we can teach. And it doesn't matter if we're teaching gun dog stuff or obedience stuff or detection work or place work or tricks, layover, play dead, whatever it is, if the dog's in that mindset of accepting and understanding, that's what we're that's what I saw Dave do so well was like take dogs that are wild and crazy and say slow down and think and pay attention.
Yeah, yeah. I think about this all the time when I'm training dogs. When a dog gets here, it's easy to say I'm going to teach him this, I'm going to teach him this, I'm going to teach him this. But what we're really doing is teaching that dog how to learn, and
Yep.
then starting to instill some things into them and setting that dog up to where then we can hand them to the owner, teach them
Right.
some stuff, and they can continue teaching them to learn because they're going to have to get that dog out there to learn. They're going to have to get that dog reps in the field to learn. You know, so
Exactly.
and this tool does that. I do want you to talk a little bit about how you make them because I think that's one of the most special things ever. I think Jamie on TikTok nailed it. Like when you see these, always puts a smile on my face too. Such an amazing person. When you see these online, when you see a picture of them or you see you working them, it doesn't do it justice for what these are. You put your hand on these and you go, wow, like this is not only quality. Every bit of this is thought out of how you did this. So I want you to tell people what you do with this. Also, it's a family business as well. Not only is your dog training a family business, so is the leather working you're doing. So,
So I got to give a big shout out to my wife because in the last year this has gotten bigger and the training requires me to be in the field every day. And so there's times now, if you've got anything in the last 8 months from us, my wife has had a huge part of that. Um, so let's break this thing down for a second. What we have here is two pieces of leather, and we take it, it's about 56 inches is one piece, and then another piece that interlays on top of that piece is like 23 inches, I believe. And then we bring it together, we glue it together. The first thing we have to do though is we have to create, so these little guys here are punched in first, and then you can't see it very well, but there is a brass eyelet that is pressed in there. Before we sew it, we have to cut everything, then we have to do the brass eyelets, then we have to put or sorry, yeah, this is brass eyelet with a brass rivet, copper rivet. I get these two mixed up. Brass eyelet, copper rivet. So I don't know on my camera that's not showing great, but hopefully
sure.
it's gonna work. So we put all those in there. I think there's nine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If we do 10, guess what happens? This catches on the 10th one right there and stops it. So it is by design. Everything here is by design. So there's 9 in there. This creates a point of contact on the dog's neck. If you can see that this is 10 or 10 ounce leather, right? 9 to 10 ounce of leather doubled up. So we glue that together with some glue that we have found. We've sourced it from guys that make cobblers that make shoes so that it will not come apart. So we do get some strength by gluing that together. Then we sew it together with a high tensile nylon thread, and the stitching is all done in here. This backside is the bobbin thread that you're seeing. Where all the strength is coming is in here, right? And so that's all done together. Then we have to clamp it. We have to clamp everything, glue everything, clamp it. We put a stainless steel D-ring in there. We put a stainless steel slide so that that moves. This is all by design. what we want you to do is be able to give a cue or tell the dog heel or sit or whoa, and then they feel the pressure come on and they feel the pressure go off. That's what we're after, right? Is on and off. When you get real good, you don't have to have as much spring in this, so you can crank down on this, break it in, and your timing's then just from here to there, right? It's just that short. But when you're newbie, you kind of need this much because you're fumbling everywhere and you can't be confusing the dog. So we say all that to say that this costs us a lot of money to make, not including my time and Ashley's time. We source the very best leather we can get. All of these components come from Weaver, and so like $3 for this and $5 for that, whatever. The idea here is we build this thing to last a lifetime,
Yeah.
and the reason
I
I do
mean,
that, if do you want me to talk about the reason?
yeah, I want you to. What I'll say too is Jared has one of these that's what 10, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And I tell him that my ultimate goal in dog training is to have my leather training collar look like his one day because you can take this thing, use it all you want to, drop it in the mud, drag it through the dirt. It has to be dragged through the dirt with Honey because she loves dirt.
Yeah.
And then just take some leather
You
treatment
can do
to
two,
it.
you can use
Yeah,
Obenos, you can use any mink oil, leather oil.
yeah,
The best thing for it is actually virgin olive oil, a high-end or virgin olive oil. Yep.
yeah. I use both on this one. Plus, it makes it look cooler because it gets
It does.
little
It
bit more
patinas.
patinas it a little bit. Yeah, I want you to talk about the importance of it and where all of it came from.
This so the reason leather is important to me is because it, it's a little nostalgic. Like the reason I make leather ID collars and the reason I make leather leashes and leather training collars is one of my really good mentors and friends. His name was Kent Forbush, and I'll try not to get emotional when I talk about him because he, when I was 15 years old, him, right, Kent Forbush and Robert Wells would come and pick me up on Saturday mornings and take me dog training. How I got connected to them is a whole nother story. But they would come and take me, and I was the bird boy, and I would do anything just to go spend time and learn with them. And Kent became, Robert became like dads to me. They were just fantastic guys. Um, And a lot of times we would go train early mornings. I was in St. George, Utah, and then about noon it was so hot we were done. Well, Kent would swing back by his house. We'd go in his basement, we'd go in his leather room and talk shop. And we'd talk about life and school and work and grades and girls and just all the good things in life. And Kent always had like really good sage advice. Kent was one of those guys that would listen to you and then he'd have like a one-liner that would hit you right in the heart and you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Um, he was the kind of guy that would talk to you in July and then send you something in December for Christmas. Because when you talk to him in July, he built you something for a couple of months, stuck it in his back pocket, and then sent it to you. Like super intentional, always just very thoughtful. And he built leather not to make money, but to make connections. And it took him all over the world. I mean, he went to Scotland and Ireland and all these different places because people bought wallets from him or they bought a dog collar from him. And he used leather as a way to connect to people and to talk to them. He actually had a 9 to 5 job at the phone company. So I remember having tons of good memories with him. About 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he built these for me for 15 years. And I said, Kent, when you decide to retire, you need to teach me how to do this because I don't know how. And I didn't have any of the tools. And he said, hey, he called me up one day and said, hey, my wrists are done. Like I can't do this stuff anymore. So I started going down once a month and spending a day with him, which now I cherish those days because um, he's passed on. And so Kent taught me about life. He taught me about dogs. But leather was just a way to do that, right? It was just come in the leather shop and let's talk. And we build one or two items, but he helped me navigate life as a young guy and just be a good listening ear. But he used leather to connect with people all over the world. Like when you went on his website stunk, but it got you to call him and say, "Hey, I want one of your dog collars, your ID collars, but your website sucks. So how can I pay you?" And can't be like, send me a check in the mail and we'll call it macaroni. But then you'd spend 45 minutes talking to the person about what is it you do and where are you at? I distinctly remember he was fixing some lady's phone somewhere and he went in the garage and the guy, her deceased husband had some leather tools there and he spent like 2 hours at that lady's house talking to her about leather and tools. He was just a very special guy. And so I consider the leather room at my house kind of a sacred place. If you get to come to Beaver and I invite you to the leather shop, it's kind of a sacred place because that's where I remember him and his memories and his thoughts. And so me and my wife joke today, it's like when we build something, we want to build it in memory of Kent to carry forward what he started. And we always joke like, is it built Kent's way? Like, is it built to last the test of time? Because when Kent built you a belt, it was built to last until you couldn't walk. If he built you a dog collar, it was built to last forever. He went with the best quality, everything, and he never really made any money at it, but his craftsmanship was very high. One day I said to him, I said, "You're an artist with this leather stuff." Because when you're seeing him do it for the first time, you're like, this is crazy cool. And he stopped and he's like, "Nope, I'm not an artist, but I'm a craftsman." And I was like, yeah, you're right. And then he pulled out a piece of leather that he had gotten in Italy. And he told me all the story behind this little piece of leather that he bought at this little shop in Italy from an artist that had tooled the leather and how he had, creased it and had this beautiful, it was almost like a painting on a piece of leather. And that's leather with art. What we do is craftsmanship. And that's what we try to do is carry on his legacy. And we could talk for days and days about Kent, but try to build it Kent's way. We try to carry that on forward. If his son or anybody ever hears this podcast, we love Kent. So it's it's pretty neat to keep going. When I was learning from him about when his wrists were given out, it was unbeknownst to me that he was going to pass away. Him and his wife were overseas and they were walking one of the Caminos. They went over there. That's kind of how they found their solace, and he went into an albergue one night and went to sleep on a cot and never woke up. So life is that fast. You just never know.
Yeah, such a special story. I love every time I get to hear it. I think I ask you that all the time just because I love hearing you tell it because there's so there's so much more to all this that you do and that we do, and there's so much history. There's so much passion that goes into this stuff. I mean, if you guys want to see Jared work in leather, he goes live on TikTok a lot. Shit, work in leather, and I think those are every day that those pop up. I'm like, I'm joining those. Like, I want to see Jared works in leather. It's such a cool thing. You think of you as this amazing dog trainer, but
Right.
you are truly an amazing leather craftsman. And if dog trading doesn't work out, you can start making saddles or baseball gloves or whatever. So you got a backup plan,
Yeah.
man. um,
I didn't, to me, it was just the leather room, but David Holbrook was with me one day and I told him that story while he stood in the leather room. And it's one of those stories that kind of pulls chills up your spine. And he was like, dude, I had no idea that this is why you built leather. You build leather for dog stuff, but the reason you really do it is because you love it and you love your good buddy that passed and you're carrying forth his passion and his tradition. And I was like, yeah, you're right. That's a lot of the reason why we do what we do.
yeah, yeah. It's really special. It's worth every single penny, as you can tell. The time, the everything Jared just mentioned goes into these collars. It's not just an assembly line of people just lining up, putting things together. It is truly something special to watch. It's you say it all the time. It's the best $140 you ever spend. It's literally the
Yeah,
catalyst to my dog training business. If I did not have this, I could not do this day in and
right.
day out. Um, so
And these edges we burnish. I get my boys to come down here. We have a cocoa bola wood that spins, and we burnish those edges. I mean, we try to do it so when you put your hands, Kent would always say, when you pick up a piece of leather, you should be able to run your hands over it and be like, yep, that's like he told me one day, he's like, pick that piece up over there. And it was a dog collar. And he's like, now close your eyes. And he's like, now rub your hand down that edge and feel that edge. And it's like it's nice and smooth. It's nothing. It's yeah. So there's all a whole bunch. There's a lot more to the process than we talked about, but
Yeah.
and I gotta give our little best gun dogs this whole thing is not about it is about training dogs, but it's really a way to connect with people and share. I share my passion with other people and hope that they enjoy working with their dog and find that passion, that light, that uplifting, fun, exciting thing that they get to do with their dog. But I hope that I plant in their heart a little seed that helps them be like, yeah, that was cool. And I want to pass that on to my buddies or to my kids or my friends or whoever. I had the opportunity this morning to have that gentleman that came out from Oklahoma, Eric and his son, Rhett. And Rhett's not quite 13. And Red had never hunted over a gun dog, and so we're working his little dog out there. She goes on point. I'm like, all right, Red, you got to come around now and make us half circle around this dog and get this bird in the air. Well, once I showed that little 13-year-old how to flush a bird, all I heard for the next 45 minutes was, can I go flush another bird? Are we ready to flush another bird? Is it my turn? I was like, man, this kid's getting it. And that's what it's all about. Because I was the 15-year-old kid that couldn't drive, that somebody went and took me hunting, right? That's what hunting is to us. It's not about killing birds. It's about dang good dog work and damn good people and
Yeah.
connecting with those people.
Yeah. I mean, you're, we could have a whole nother podcast of just what this leather collar means to me now and what it's done for me. I mean, man, literally life changing. I'll say that much for anybody listening.
Yeah.
Literally, life. It changed my life. This just leather collar, $140, made in a leather room in Beaver, Utah,
Beaver, Utah.
by the Moss family.
Yep, by my whole family at this point. It's awesome.
Yeah, so get you one. I promise you, you'll get your hands on this. Get the training course that Jared does, and you have a tool and you have the training to make an incredible dog.
And without the training behind it, it's just another tool.
Yeah.
This whole method is about teaching dogs, connecting
Mhm.
with them, creating this bond that lasts a lifetime. And then, yeah, then from there, it's just it's all about putting in the time, making the memories. Hey, appreciate you all for listening to the Birddoggin podcast. If you have any questions or would like any more information, reach out at bestgundogs.com, or you can reach me at my social media, most active on Instagram at bestgundogs. And keep listening. Appreciate y'all.